and welcome back to another episode of Conscious and Curly. I am your host, Angelica, in a new space with a new kind of vibe. I don't know. I guess let's get into it. I moved. I kind of like this not having a mic stand. This was last minute because I couldn't be in the center like I wanted to with the mic stand. I was resisted, so I decided to go standless. But anyway, I have moved my studio. I'm in a different space. I guess we can get into all of it. This whole episode's really, first of all, if you're not watching me, you can watch me on YouTube. Just search Conscious and Curly. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, all the things. If you're listening to me on any podcast platform, please leave a review, share, like, subscribe, or follow if you can. And this episode is really just going to be like a catch up. Getting back into the flow of things for myself, for you. I appreciate you for being here, for being patient with me, for joining. If you're just joining, wherever you come from, I appreciate you being here. So before we get into this episode, I'm going to start with our regular segment, Food for Thought. And this week's Food for Thought. Did you know that female bees are the only bees that sting, not males? According to Terminix.com, the stinger is a modified egg-laying device that only females have. However, despite having a stinger, the females of many bee species actually cannot sting. But of the ones that do, it's only the female who stings. And shout out to Ivy and her daughter for giving me that fun food for thought. They gave it to me actually many, many months ago, but I am just now recording this episode. So thank you guys so much for sharing. And if any of you guys have any like food for thought, like fun, interesting facts about life, this world, whatever, feel free to share. You can email me, askconsciousandcurly@gmail.com. You can follow me on anywhere. Instagram, I am conscious_curly. Facebook, I am conscious and curly. Sorry, I just made that one. You can feel free to DM me, email me, share your little food for thought or fun, interesting fact. I am running low, so I would love some new interesting facts. I guess we can just get into our catch up. So it's been a few months. It's been a few months and I've done lots of things. A lot of life has happened in those few months. So I guess I wanted to just spend this episode catching up and helping y'all re-get to know me and re-get to know like where I am and what season of life I'm in and what's happened since we last spoke. I went on a trip to Tulum in Mexico. It was going to be a solo trip, but so many people were against it. Lots of coworkers, family, friends, all the people did not want me traveling solo dolo. I also wanted to like get an Airbnb like in the middle of the rainforest and really have an isolated trip. And they just didn't want me doing that by myself. So shout out to those people for being concerned. I ended up taking one of my best friends with me and we had an amazing time. And it was actually a lot more spiritual and relaxing than I really thought it was going to be. That's what I was going for. Maybe not so much spiritual, but definitely like relaxing and a vacation. But I ended up seeing a shaman while we were there. He spoke so much life into me and the path that I'm on and affirmed so many things for me. It was really amazing and unexpected. And I swam in the cenotes, which was actually a really sacred, beautiful experience. We had an Airbnb in the middle of the forest. We had a bike that came with our Airbnb, and we would just bike into town and lived like locals for a few days. And it was so lovely. I really need to go back or do something like that again. Yeah, that was a great time. I hosted a couple different like yoga events along with my regular classes. That happened over time, and I learned some lessons business-wise, alignment-wise on that. I guess I'll probably save an episode to dive into that or to talk about just maybe lessons I learned from that. And my current like regular yoga class has ended. I am teaching AAU basketball boys. I stretch them out after their practices every week. But other than that, I'm pretty open to like finding a yoga space. If you are in the San Antonio area and are like interested in having like private sessions, I even do small classes. I used to do a yoga and hike where I would take like just some people who are interested, and we would go to a local park and hike and then do yoga. So I might start that up again now that the weather is getting cooler. But if you are interested in doing yoga with me, or if you know of a space that is needing a teacher, then feel free to reach out to me. I am open and available for some spaces. So yeah, I figure this is maybe in a community that can share. I did end up getting back on... Sorry, I feel like something's in my tooth for those watching. I did end up getting back on a dating app, and very reluctantly, really just like out of boredom and just sheer like, let's just look. And I ended up meeting somebody, and that happened a few months ago, and it's going really well. I think another episode will be like on the whole transition from like singlehood to like dating and like being with somebody, just because that's different and a whole journey and transition in itself. But yeah, it's going well, and I like him a lot. I'm not sure like how much I'm going to speak on him on the show, or if I will, but just know that. He listens, and so I'm pretty nervous to like say anything, or not say anything, but just like say anything. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. I ended up like traveling just to like the coast with my family and with my man. That was really cool because he is not from Texas, so he got to like experience the Texas coast, and it was cool to see it through his eyes. And that was awesome. I ended up going with my best friend to go see Erykah Badu. We saw her live when she was here in San Antonio. If you guys remember that concert or were at that concert, you're like, damn, she's catching us up from then. Yes, that's how long it's been, and that's where I am. And the concert was amazing, so I'm going to speak on it. It was definitely like a moment in my life, seeing her bringing memories along with, I don't know, new memories. It was great. And I love concerts. I really love like shared experiences of the human experience. I feel like that's such a unique part of this experience, where we can like have a mass amount of people share not only in an experience, but like in the emotions from the experience. Be it like going to a movies, that's like a kind of a smaller scale of it, but concerts, or like anybody who went to Beyonce. I didn't. That's not on this catch up. I'm sorry. But anybody who went to go see Beyonce, that was like such a shared experience, and so many people are sharing the same emotions at one time, and I just think that's so beautiful. And being at Erykah Badu, I don't know. Really, anytime I go to a concert, I'm just like reminded of that. And I'm like, oh, yes, this is what I love about being human. And I feel like we all need little things that give us that reminder of like, this is a unique, beautiful experience. And it makes you feel grateful for what it is and grateful for life and grateful for the little things or the big things. So yeah, I ended up losing, let's take a drink, not a shot. Let's take a drink to this. I ended up losing my full-time job. So I have now dived kind of headfirst into content creating and podcasting more and growing my yoga business, which is beautiful. And honestly, what I wanted to do, I just was trying to find something to help me transition. And I have, since I've lost my job, I have a virtual job that I'm working, which is awesome and gives me the flexibility, to create my own schedule and work around what I need to work around. It's really worked out and it's really such a beautiful thing. And it just proves how God be knowing, and he knows me, and he knows that I'm a tough love, or like a hands-on, we'll call it hands-on, a hands-on kind of person. I just learn better that way. I can grasp and continue to like comprehend and hold on to memory better when it's like a hands-on type of experience. And I think he just knew that I needed to just dive on in. I was like pussyfooting, I guess you can say. But all is well. We ended on like good terms, or separated on good terms. And I was given like a severance or whatever you want to call it. But all is well, and I now have the freedom to do this. Like I said, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm really grateful for just where life's going, but that is the transitional space that I'm in. I guess I wanted to catch you all the way up to this moment. Just because transitioning from working full time, transitioning from like steady, it is steady income, but as well as like just that stability of like a consistent something. And in content creation or in creating in any way, it just isn't that. Or even my yoga and building my own yoga schedule and my own yoga business, it just isn't that. So transitioning my mind to like accepting where it is a thing. But in all of the transitions that I'm going through and in all that I'm having to work through, it's not I still would rather be here than be unhappy where I was. And so that's just, to me, proof that I'm exactly where I should be. I'm just really grateful for the lessons I'm learning. It's tough and it's a rough time, but I'm appreciating, loving, and trusting all of it. So I just feel like I'm supposed to be here and it's supposed to be happening this way. And yeah. And I wasn't planning on talking about this, but just a little side note. I also feel like being in this generation, maybe this is an episode I'll do with like somebody who really has true expertise on this, because I do not. It's just like a reflection I've had or like an observation I've made in terms of being of this generation, i.e. like a millennial generation, where we were at formative years when there was no internet. How old was I? I think I was like 10 when Y2K happened. I can probably do the math. Yeah, I was like 8 when Y2K happened. And that is like the start of the internet. Everybody thought everything was going to like And it was a very crazy, monumental time. I would love to have somebody come on here and we just reflect on Y2K, because that was honestly like a trauma of mine. And I had a breakdown with my mom when I was young about it. Anyway, so I'm a part of the generation that had no internet, no access to internet, to all of a sudden dial up. Then we went to high-speed internet. Then we went to social media. Then we went to all the different platforms of social media. I've been around where everything has been developing, and I've seen everything from 0 to 100 where we are. And I feel like in being a part of that generation, there is like byproducts of personalities from that. There are like those who are totally inept to the internet and to software programs and apps, and just like can create one immediately. And like 5 years after the internet was developed is like understands it and is like, oh yeah, I understand coding, or I'm going to get really into it. And then there's also those types who are like me, who are like, no, screw this. Once it's on the internet, it's on there forever. So I'm very picky about what I put out there. I just don't want, I like things the way they are. And I feel like an old woman in her grandma sweater sometimes being like, no, F that. Like I heard a Gen Z person on a podcast talking about how millennials are old people and how there is like a subset of millennials that like refuses to get on TikTok. And like that's their way of proving they're like a better millennial or a better person, because they don't do those things. And I'm totally that millennial. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have TikTok. And I tell people that I don't. Not like in a bragging kind of way, but because a lot of people ask. It's the way a lot of people communicate. And I just don't have that. And a lot of people feel like I'm stingy for not choosing to get on it. But I have my reasons for that. We can do a whole episode about that if y'all want to talk about that. But I just am very much like that millennial that's a little stingy and a little old person like in their ways. So in this transition time, I'm having to shift my mind and be okay with whipping my camera out and recording myself for content and thinking of things differently in terms of creating content and in terms of like drawing people and marketing myself. And it's just thoughts that I have not had before, and I've gotten by not having to. And I've really tried to put this part off for the longest. Honestly, it's what I've dreaded the most, but we're here and I'm getting into it, and I'm excited about what's to come, and I'm excited about what I'm going to learn. I ended up getting with a coach who is going to help me hopefully like change my mind about this. I told her I feel like she's going to have to be more of like a therapist as well as like a business coach, because I really have to change my mind about how I look at all of this. But either way, I'm excited. That's the transitional period that I'm in. And I guess that catches you up to like now. And that's where I am. And I'm loving it, and I'm loving this space, and I will be more consistent with podcast drops now that I have this time and this freedom, and I'm truly stating it and holding myself to that. Yeah. And that's really it. I got through all that a lot faster than I thought I would. I guess it wasn't as much catch up as I thought it was going to be, but it was some catch up. I did end up reaching out on social media. You guys should follow me, because you never know when I'm going to pop up. It's real spontaneous. I did end up reaching out on social media and asking people to submit like some anonymously kinky questions. And I did get some questions. Now these questions are specifically from people who are in the lifestyle. I already know this. And that's not giving too much information because I'm in quite a few lifestyle groups. But so I'm just saying that to let you know, like, that's where these questions, like, that may be like the foundation or where the basis of these questions may come from. So, and I am no expert in any way on any of these things, but I just like to give my opinion, my advice, my 2 cents, and I like to open the conversation. You can leave a comment, leave a question, continue the conversation in the comments. I'm just trying to simply hold the space and start the conversation. If you have any questions regarding sex, life, fetishes, kinks, you can DM me on Instagram, conscious_curly. You can also email me, askconsciousandcurly, all spelled out, @gmail.com. And submit your question. This is Anonymously Kinky, so I will not be letting anybody know your name or identity. First question, how do I begin a conversation with my spouse about adding a third? These are the questions that I honestly feel like they should be normalized in terms of like in dating. It should be like a regular question that people are asking, whether you assume somebody's vanilla or assume they're non-traditional. But I think it's something that you should ask when dating. I think it's something you should ask like while in a committed relationship, just like random check-ins of like, yo, how you feel about this? What are your thoughts now about this? Just because it's a topic that's touched so much in media or in outside leisure ways that it is constantly coming on our mind and people's ideas, and we're constantly growing. So our ideas of it may change from when we first started dating somebody to after being with them for years. And I just think it's important to constantly revisit these conversations and make it normal. I think making it normal also makes it so there's no pressure or feelings of like insecurity or like you're lacking anything, and you simply understand that it's just a curiosity because you guys are always being curious about these things. So I say all that to say, I suggest, first of all, explaining to them that you want to have a conversation and explaining to them the nature of the conversation and that you're not saying it or saying anything to like what you mean isn't making any decisions, and you're not trying to base anything off of this conversation. You're simply curious and you're just inquisitive. And I think you should truly come from that space and truly just remain inquisitive and curious as you want them to be with you. And I think you just think of it as like you're learning your partner. You're learning your person and hearing more of what they're interested in or what they could be feeling like they can get more satisfaction from. Yeah, I think that's the start, is to just simply have the conversation and come from a curious space. And I think that is how you should come at it from when asking or talking about all, like just when learning your partner or when talking to your person. I think no matter what, you should always just stay curious and come from a curious and truly trying to learn space versus trying to draw conclusions. And I just think you'll get further and you'll learn more about each other. Next question. In polyamory or open relationships, how do you keep jealousy at bay? I think the first step is to recognize that jealousy is just like any other feeling and emotion, and it's a feeling and emotion that will come and go. But just as like we don't act out when we're angry or we're feeling angry, you don't have to act out when you're feeling jealous. I also think it's important to, like, for me personally, what helps me is to remain curious about myself and ask myself questions in a truly curious manner of where this is coming from. What is it that I'm really feeling? Is it jealousy because I feel like they're going to abandon me and they're going to leave me for this person? Is it jealousy because I feel like I'm lacking something, or it's bringing up insecurities of what I'm not doing enough of? I think getting to the root of what the jealousy is helps you control what you can control, which is your own emotions and how you handle it and how you feel about it. And I highly recommend reading. There's a book that I read called The Ethical Slut. It's about non-monogamy, and it's just, they have like a whole chapter on jealousy, and I really appreciate, for nothing else of that book, I just appreciate how they describe jealousy, help you get through jealousy, and help you truly understand jealousy. I think society really allows and nurtures a jealous energy or jealous behavior. I feel like that's a part of patriarchy. We can get into that in another conversation, but I just feel like it's normalized. And I think if you were to truly do work on yourself, or just, like I said, dive deeper into what it is that you're feeling jealous of, you can even open the conversation with your partner to help you answer those questions and to help you understand more of what it is they're getting from their other person, their other relationships, and what it is that you are feeling. And I think it's important to communicate that you are jealous, because I think it's important that we are always honest with ourselves, as well as being honest with other people. But I think it helps to be honest with ourselves. I don't think it necessarily means anything needs to happen or your partner needs to react or respond in any type of way. But I think it just helps, and they can support you just knowing the headspace that you're in and where you are at this moment. So yeah, I say start with that. If you have any advice for any of these questions, you guys, again, can have the conversation in the comments. Feel free to share your thoughts and feelings on these topics. And the last question, do you know what your hell no, we can't do that is in your vision of kink? Maybe they meant version. Anyway. I don't know. Honestly, what I thought was a hell no has ended up being a maybe. I feel like with the right person, with the right trust, with the right comfortability, I may be open to try anything. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is no golden showers or scat play, things with fecal matter or urine are a no for me. But anything else, I feel like I'm probably open to in some way with the right person. And that is it for our Anonymously Kinky segment. Now we will go into our questions. And because it's been so long since I've posted, there are no questions. But if you have any questions regarding life, this experience, love, you can email me, askconsciousandcurly @gmail.com. And that is it for this episode. And another one. We did it, y'all. I came back. I did it. Okay. Yeah, so I will see you guys again right here. Not exactly sure when, but next week. And until then, you guys be safe out there. Peace.